claims and counterclaims that have come in on this big story. On one side, Israel claims that we have been able to intercept the missiles coming in from Iran and that there hasn't been much damage. But Iran's Revolutionary Guard say there has been significant damage that has been caused due to its ballistic missiles that were launched at Israel. This video released by Iran media shows Iran's Operation True Promise 2. It is in action, as it says. These are ballistic hypersonic missiles launched targeting Israeli air bases as claimed by Iran. Remember, this was launched by Iran against Israel as a retaliation over the killing of top commanders of Hezbollah in the past 1 week. In turn, we are told, as reports are suggesting, 150 to 200 ballistic missiles launched toward Israel, targeting primarily the air bases in which the fighter jets are placed that had been involved in aerial strikes in Lebanon. Also remember, why it is important and why I mention it is because of the fighter jets, F-35, F-15, that were used even in Nasrallah's assassination, we are told were placed at this airbase. Let's try and understand more details coming in on this. Shiv Aroor joins me for what's happening currently on the ground. Shiv, do tell us that what about the attacks that are currently on Israel's air bases? How do you think Mossad headquarters, as Iran claims, has been on the target? You have reported from Israel. Tell us what the ground situation appears to be now.
Very image that we had last night of those huge barrages of missiles flying into Israel made one thing very clear, that while some of those missiles were most definitely going to be intercepted by Israel's very advanced air defense systems, like David's Sling, Iron Dome and Arrow, there was always going to be the possibility that many of these missiles would ultimately land and impact on their targets. Now, three major targets that we saw being mentioned by Iran and actually confirmed on the ground in Israel are three principal Israeli Air Force bases. These are the Nevatim base, the Hatzerim base and the Tel Nof base, which are basically three Air Force bases that house most of the Israeli Air Force's combat aircraft strength, including F-35 stealth fighters, F-15 strike fighters and F-16 air defense fighters. So these are the very aircraft that have actually been conducting the airstrikes, both in Gaza, in Yemen and now in Lebanon. And therefore, for Iran to be able to hit those air bases with any degree of accuracy sends out not just a symbolic message, but a physical message. Remember, it's important to note that at this point of time, while Iran is talking about inflicting a great deal of damage at these air bases, there is no confirmation yet from the ground that aircraft have actually been damaged. The Israeli government has said that a few people have been injured, but no extensive damage has been reported. But we should leave room for the possibility that there is a fog of war right now. Sometimes information can change, as the reality emerges a little better once there is more information from these air bases. But like you said, the fact that Israel has now reserved the right to respond directly to Iran at a time and place of its choosing, and the United States stepping in and saying that they have an ironclad support for Israel, the possibility of this spilling out into a wider conflict is very, very real. The region is on tenterhooks right now. What can that escalation from Israel's side actually be? What will be the end game on that? Because remember, it's complicated. An attack on Iran at this time we'll have to keep eyes on what's happening in Lebanon as well. The Hezbollah has been conducting ambush raids. Our reporter on the ground, Ashraf, has been talking about ambushes of Israeli soldiers in southern Lebanon now that the ground offensive has started. So it has become complicated. Israel's main concern will be not to get bogged down in a ground war at this point of time. So much more information expected in the hours ahead.